The leader of the Republican Party has constantly threatened media organizations for fact-checking him and has repeatedly called the press, quote, the enemy of the people, end quote, a phrase that has, without question, fascist origins in Nazi Germany. Before the Nazis gained political power in that nation, they attempted to turn people away from news media outlets that were critical of them simply by referring to those media organizations as the lying press, the German version of calling the news media fake news. The German phrase was Lugenpresse. May have mispronounced that. The Nazis' attacks on media organizations were also based on their anti-Semitism. Trump uses the same tactics as the Nazis used in the 1930s. When calling the free media the enemy of the people, Trump is referring to just the news media outlets that do not parrot his false and misleading statements as true, which number in the tens of thousands, and that has been documented, and who do not praise him effusively as the Messiah appointed by God to lead a failing nation, his terms when referring to the United States, and the evil machinations of those who believe that he is mentally unfit to be president. Trump's threats against the media organizations are resulting in tangible results for him now. The New York Times is sane-washing his idiotic ramblings that Trump calls the weave, more of an indication of creeping senility, in my opinion. The billionaire individual owners of the Washington Post and the Los Angeles Times have now blocked the editorial staffs of those papers endorsing Harris. Where is the fake news in America? It originates daily from Trump that is echoed among Trump propagandists at Fox, OAN, and similar outlets. The purpose of the Republican tax on responsible journalism is to turn people away from facts so that they will readily accept whatever fake news and fake news narratives that the Republicans advance. This effort has largely been successful, and tens of millions are now completely immunized from accepting factual information inconsistent with Trump's reality creations. And that is why 80% or more of Republicans still view him as honest. The entire campaign against the truth started with Richard Nixon and his vice president, Spiro Agnew, and was successfully concluded with Donald Trump. Well, almost one half of the voting population will no longer believe anything that Trump says, and I would put myself in that group. The other half, who are suffering from what is known as Trump derangement syndrome, actually believe that his false statements are true and that the true statements that contradict his reality creations are false. The reason for turning people away from facts is simply to acquire and keep political and economic power. There is no other reason. The intimidation of the press is only in its early stages and will gain considerable momentum if Trump is elected, and that is historically consistent with the transition to authoritarian rule.